One is never ask about your work timings. Never. I've seen freshers, bright, capable freshers, walk into their first week and ask the HR about working hours before they have even learned where the bathroom is. You know what that tells your employer? It tells them your first thought wasn't, how do I add value in this organization? But what you're thinking right now is, how soon can I get out of this office? And that's not an employee, that's a liability with a laptop. Something nobody in college taught you. Your first job is really not a job. It's a front row seat in a room where people who have spent decades building real skills are operating in real time, solving real problems, making real decisions, handling real pressure. And somehow, some way, you landed a seat at that table. They're not just paying you a salary, they're paying you to watch, absorb, and learn things that no university syllabus has ever had the sense to teach you. So, when the work runs until 10 p.m., that's not overtime. That's a masterclass. When you log in 30 minutes early every day and stay an hour late every day because a client deadline blew up, you have just got a live crash course in crisis management that your MBA friends are going to pay lakhs and lakhs of rupees to learn from some random online academy. When you're there at midnight finishing a pitch deck, you're watching how pressure actually works, how decisions get made when the stakes are real and the clock is not your friend. The people who became senior managers, directors, founders, they didn't get there by watching the clock. They got there because when everyone else was logged off, they stayed in. And slowly, quietly, they became the person the room couldn't function without. That's not a sacrifice, that's a strategy, a long term strategy. That's creating self worth. Now, I'm not telling you to get exploited, all right? I'm not telling you to let someone take disadvantage. There is a time to negotiate hours, boundaries, and compensation, and that time will come soon, but nothing less than 3 years. But the time is not now for sure. Right now, you have only one job, and that job is to learn new skills every day, to be better than yesterday, to be more mature than before. All you have to do is to wait for the right time when they start seeing a future manager in you. You want to leave at 6? Fine. For what? Netflix? Amazon Prime? No. But just know the person who stays till 7 o'clock is learning something today that you're not. And in 3 years, you will feel that gap. So don't log out between 9 to 5. The people who rise fast in their career are rarely the ones who are obsessed with the clock in the first 3 years. They're the ones who show commitment, they learn faster, they absorb more, they build trust and credibility, and they make themselves impossible to ignore. Your first job is not where you look for comfort, it's where you build credibility. And once you have built a positive perception about yourself, then you get rewarded. Until then, show up, learn, deliver, and let your work speak louder than your watch. So, I repeat, the final conclusion for rule number one is never ask about office timings, holidays, leaves, offs, asking about time away. Alright? Don't do that. Rule number two, never ask about salary. Everybody wants money. That's not the issue here. The issue is timing. Walking into your first job and making salary your first priority sends the wrong signal. Why? Because at that stage, you haven't built leverage yet. You haven't proven you can solve some problems, you can handle pressure, or you can create some kind of a value, or you can make the company more money than they have been spending on you. In your first few years, the company is not just hiring an employee; they are taking a bet on a potential. Think about it like this: if a business is investing in training you, assigning senior people to teach you, allowing you to make mistakes, paying you while you learn, and giving you access to real work, you are not yet negotiating from contribution. You are negotiating from expectation. And in business, expectation doesn't get rewarded, results do. Too many freshers make the mistake of asking, how much will I get, before they have even asked themselves, how much value I can add. Now, don't confuse this with being cheap or accepting exploitation again. That's not the lesson. The lesson is this: in your first 3 years of professional life, your focus should not be on squeezing every rupee out of the company. It should be on building skills, building reputation, network, proof of performance, etc. Because salary in year one is income, but skills in year one become bargaining power for the future. The people who win in the long run understand this. You don't chase money first, you build value, and money starts chasing you. So, if you get a fair opportunity, accept it with grace. Learn like your future depends on it. Outperform expectations and build a track record nobody can ignore. Your market value is not built in the interview room, it is built in the balance sheet. After year one, year two, year three, when you have delivered results, solved problems, and made yourself impossible to replace, that's when you get to walk back in your cabin and ask your numbers, and not at all before that. So whenever they give you an offer, whatever it is, you accept it gracefully and you say thank you. You show gratitude. You don't negotiate like a senior manager who is already closed 10 crores worth of deals because you have not. So accept whatever they offer. Rule number three of the game: never ask what exactly is my job role. Listen to me carefully. You just graduated, all right? You have a degree, not experience. You have knowledge, not perspective. And one of the fastest way to kill your growth in the first 3 years is by putting yourself in a box before you have even figured out what you're capable of. Freshers love labels. Am I in marketing? Is this sales department? Is it not operations? Is it really my role? Wrong questions. The right question should be, what can this teach me? Because here is what nobody tells you. In your early career, every task the company gives you is not a random work, it is an opportunity to learn. The presentation which you hesitate to make is an opportunity to learn communication. The data which you hesitate to analyze is an opportunity to learn business thought process, business strategy. The client which you hesitate to call gives you the teaching of confidence under pressure. That extra assignment outside your comfort zone is a learning opportunity for adaptability. In the first 3 years, you're not there to define the game, you're there to understand how the game works. Every assignment is a chance to learn something new, prove you can handle more, and become the kind of person people trust with bigger opportunities. The people who rise fast are not the ones who keep asking, is this my job? They are the ones who say, give it to me, I will figure it out. Because in the beginning of your career, every task is a classroom, every assignment is a training, and every responsibility is a chance to grow. Don't chase a title too early, chase capability. Titles will come later. So, here is your new mantra for the first 3 years: whatever your manager asks, do it. Do it well. Do it fast. Then ask for more without looking at your designation or the clock. Simply put, drop the title, pick the rifle. Rule number four: never question your management decision. Listen, graduates, corporate life is not a college. This is not a classroom where raising a hand and proving someone's wrong gets you applause. In business, decisions are rarely made with just the information you can see. There is a politics in the background. There are budgets, client pressures, deadlines, internal dynamics, risk, conversation happening behind doors. All that is there in the context, which you don't even know yet. So when a fresher stands up and says in the meeting, that doesn't make sense to me, or starts publicly questioning leadership without understanding the full picture or the context, they don't look bold. They look naive or stupid. Now, let me be very clear. Managers are not always right. Of course, they can be wrong, but your first instinct should not be to challenge publicly. Your first instinct should be to ask yourself, what am I not seeing in this? Why did they make that call? What pressure are they balancing that I don't understand yet? Because that's how professionals grow: curiosity, not by reacting emotionally, by learning strategic thinking. Sometimes understanding why a decision was made teaches you more than the decision itself. That kind of political intelligence, that is priceless. And while we are at it, stay out of gossip, stay out of backroom complaining, stay out of office bitching, disguised as, venting. The people who spend their first 3 years carrying gossip from one desk to another think they are building a relationship, networking, or friendship. What they are actually building is a reputation that no leader trusts. See everything, observe everyone, learn how people move, but don't become the loudest critic, the office revolutionary, or a flag bearer of every complaint before you have even built credibility. The smartest people in the room are often not the ones talking the most. They're the ones watching the most, understanding and choosing the moments carefully. In your first 3 years, build trust before you challenge authority, build credibility before you take positions, and build intelligence before you pick battles. Because in business, the person who controls their emotions, stays out of noise, and understands power usually wins in the end, in the long run. So, in the first 3 years, keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, build your credibility, and play the long term game quietly, patiently, and strategically. Rule number 5, never change job before 3 years for a small salary hike. Listen, friends. A lot of freshers think career growth is simple. New job, 20% hike, success. Wrong. That's wrong strategy. That's short term thinking dressed up as an ambition. Because in your first few years, you're not just earning money, you're building the depth. And depth takes time. The first year, you barely understand the system. The second year, you start seeing patterns. The third year, you begin making decisions with confidence because now you actually know what you're doing. If you leave every time someone offers a little more money, you may increase your salary, but you kill the compounding experience that creates real career power. Here is what freshers don't understand. The first 3 years are not about maximizing income, they are about maximizing learning and solidifying skills. This is the phase where you learn how team works, how managers think, how clients behave, how pressure feels, how mistakes cost money, and most importantly, what not to do. Because before you become great at anything, you first spend years learning where people fail. That's the real education nobody puts on a certificate. And when you job hop too early for a small bump, you're often trading the long term credibility for a short term cash. You leave before mastering anything, you move before understanding anything or understanding consequences, you collect offer letters. You don't collect depth. Then 5 years later, you have multiple companies on your resume but no real expertise that make you extraordinary. The people who build powerful career understand this. Money compounds, but experience compounds faster. Stay long enough to learn, stay long enough to master a skill, stay long enough to see the mistakes, the politics, the wins, the losses, and the patterns. Because in your first 3 years, you're not building salary, you're building the professional version of yourself that salary will chase later. See, understand one thing very clearly. Patience isn't a weakness. In the game of corporate, patience is the real strategy. That's all for now. So the conclusion is your first 3 years are your second college. This is where you learn discipline, humility, politics, pressure, communication, execution, failure, and resilience. This is where you stop being a graduate and start becoming an adult, a professional. Don't watch the clock, watch the opportunity. Don't obsess over salary, obsess over value. Don't box yourself into a job role, expand your capacity. Don't challenge everything just to look smart. Learn the game before you play it. And don't sell your long term growth for a short term income that feels good today but cost you depth tomorrow. So, the rules I gave you today, learn them, live with them for the next 3 years, master every single one of them. And then, when you have earned the right, break them on your own terms. That's when the real game actually begins after 3 years. So if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below on which rule you have implemented first, and I will see you at the top. Thank you so much.